Hello and welcome to the Telegraph Studios. I'm Alistair Greener and today we're going to be talking about how to ensure that business workflow runs smoothly and seamlessly. And joining me is Rob Brown from Oki Systems. Good morning.
Good morning.
So SMEs these days are overwhelmed, aren't they, with having to deliver more with less. So why should a manager owner be involved in the day-to-day operations?
Fundamentally, actually, I don't think they should be. I think they need to realise they've got a solution that's smart enough to work for their business, so they don't have to get involved with the day-to-day operations. Fundamentally, what they need to know is that they've got something that is not going to cost them the earth, that's controllable and that's scalable. As any SME wants to do, ultimately they want to grow. So they need to make sure that they've got something that can grow with them and make sure that it's not going to cost them the earth.
So why are they actually losing efficiency then?
Fundamentally, I think because a lot of people don't consider print. I use the analogy of a utility. It's like turning a tap on and expecting water to come out. You hit file and print and you expect a piece of paper to come out with what you want on it. But actually print goes a lot further than that. And I think somebody who's setting up a small business, naturally their first thought isn't going to be, well, what printer should I buy? So they maybe buy a small A4 desktop mono printer, and then 6 months down the line they realise actually they want to produce more impactful colour documents that go to their customers, or actually maybe they need to scan something in, and all of a sudden they realise they need maybe a smarter MFP that might connect with Google Docs or cloud services or some other kind of workflow and productivity software and solution, and then they're into, well, actually I need to buy a new device and that's going to cost me more, and it's back down to the how do I control cost, how do I not make it impact my business. And so if you think about it up front, you install the right machine that will work with your business, and hey presto.
Okay, it all sounds pretty obvious. So if this is all working so well, why aren't more people actually implementing this kind of system?
Again, I think it comes back to the fact that a lot of people don't think about it when they set up their business, but also the technology is constantly evolving. As with mobile phones or any other IT equipment, their abilities change, and what you need to do is you need to think carefully about what you provide. And Oki's range of smart MFPs, which are really less to do with printing and more to do with enabling a workflow and productivity. So for instance, if you were to have an invoice that comes into an organisation, if you could scan that straight into an electronic workflow, which would then be stored electronically and filed, that would also have what we call metadata attached, which are the search strings that you can retrieve a document for, but also would be sent off to your accountant automatically, or would be sent off to whoever is the signatory who would sign off that invoice being paid. You end up with a much faster, seamless process, and it's much more efficient. But you need to acquire the right technology in the first place. So it's understanding what your needs are and maybe having a few more in-depth discussions with whoever your IT service provider is to make sure you get the most from your products.
So I understand the theory of what you're talking about, but can you actually put this into context by giving me an example of how Oki have actually delivered this solution?
Yeah, okay, so we work with a range of businesses, and we've got anything from a small desktop device all the way up to a very large A3 multifunction machine that will do lots of scanning and collating and copying, but really it's about the smart interaction of that workflow, but able to do things like mobile printing. So mobile devices, be it iPads or other devices are very prevalent in business now, and you need to enable the ability to print from those and share documents between them. But if we look at some of our customers, they range everywhere from large furniture retailers such as DFS or Harvey's, where they're using the machines in a relatively simple fashion to print off a finance document. That finance document then needs to not only be printed and signed, but as an official document needs to be scanned back in and sent to a repository. There's other large central government departments such as DEFRA or the Treasury that are actually users of our solutions, where they have a much larger scale solution, which means that somebody can walk up with their building pass and they can authorise their prints to come off on that machine and nothing else. So you're not revealing any sensitive information because you've got a very closed and secure system. But you also then have the small businesses, and the small businesses who fundamentally need a device to do as much for them as possible. So it's a given that a printer will print a standard letter or an invoice, something like that, but it's the other things that are maybe more interesting.
There's a lot involved in this solution by the sounds of it, with all the different clients you've worked with before. So how much does this all cost?
I guess it costs as much as you want it to. As I said, we've got a range of products, anywhere from a small A4 desktop mono printer that we're all probably used to, all the way up to a large A3 floor standing, what traditionally people might regard as a photocopier. But these things are designed to have a range of different functionalities depending upon what your business needs. So fundamentally it's about, what does your business need? You know, do you need an inexpensive, simple device that only has one function, or do you actually have a more complex requirement which requires a slightly more expensive machine but that will be more robust and will deliver an awful lot more benefits in terms of, you know, a smarter workflow and enable the other things we were talking about previously, but all within a cost controlled environment, you know, where you end up with somebody who wants cost to be predictable and visible and controllable. You could look at a managed print service, and that could be available on one machine, and it could be a small machine, or it could be on a fleet of machines. But that gives you a fixed cost per page, a fixed, you know, lease or rental on the hardware, all inclusive of your service, all inclusive of your consumables, delivered direct to your site. So if you come back to the first question, which was, why is a business owner concerned with print? Well, fundamentally he shouldn't be, but it's the cost he's concerned with. So a managed print means that actually he knows exactly how much it's going to cost him, whereas if he just purchases something on a transactional basis, there's a variable. Depends how much toner he lays down, depends how many prints he does in a day, a week or a month, but this way he knows exactly what he gets.
One of the concerns many businesses will have is the interruption to the operations of their business while these systems are changed, especially with the more complex ones. So how much interference does it cause?
Again, it depends upon the scale of your business, but if you consult with the right people in the right way, you know, proper print consultants, people that understand what they're doing, you can end up with the right solution which fits the business. Really what it's about is making sure that you understand what the real benefits of a solution are. Do you want to be able to print from your mobile phone or from a tablet? Do you want to be able to scan something into a document repository where it will be filed and then sent to a number of different people automatically? What else do you want it to do? So if you understand what the technology is capable of and understand what your real business requirements are, then you get the right solution.
Again, looking at the future now, technology is changing, the way that we work is changing, and all the time things are evolving. So how do you adapt to this ever-changing world?
Oki are a manufacturer. We've actually been established since 1881. The company was pioneered by a man called Kibutaro Oki, who, when Mr. Bell invented the telephone, we commercialised it. Well, we've been through a whole host of technology and technology changes, including PC manufacture and semiconductors and facial recognition software. But all of that gives us a very high level of technological understanding. We own all of our own R&D, and we're constantly pushing the envelope. But really it comes back to having future-proofed products that we create so that they're compatible with a range of different solutions. And we work on our smart multifunction printers, MFPs, with what we call an open architecture. So you can run a range of different apps, if you care to use a common word, to enable different things within your business to make sure you've got the right workflow in place. And if you've got the right workflow, you benefit from better productivity. Better productivity means you've got, you know, lower costs and you're more efficient. So it's about making sure you take the time to select the right device in the right way, but also making sure you work with a manufacturer who's got that leading edge technology and, more importantly, knows how to implement it. But it could be a small scale operation where you just need to understand what's capable and get the right device, or it could be a large project. I previously mentioned, you know, DEFRA and the Treasury. These were obviously huge organisations with thousands of staff and multiple sites. Well, that takes true project management. Again, something that we have the skill sets to be able to deliver because we're a global organisation with the right resources and the right high level of training to be able to implement either a large or complex solution or something relatively simple, but making sure you take the right time and process to deliver it.
Well, it's been fascinating to find out more about business and technology and the solutions surrounding that. Rob Brown from Oki, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.